football fans! Well, here we go! This is the official kickoff to IE Sports Radio 6th year anniversary week. I'll tell you what, this is going to be a fun one. A non-stop hour of college football coming your way. And of course, tons of energy to bring aboard the excitement of college football to kick off this awesome week. Ladies and gentlemen, college football fans everywhere, I will be ready and excited because for the next hour, myself and Mr. Teran Rodriguez will be talking about who are the teams that we think are to beat this year in college football, as well as a look at the schedule, all of these Saturday night games, and some of the biggest matchups of the season. I'll tell you, this is going to be a fun show, y'all. Let us know. Jump the chat room. Let us know who you think will be top dog. And of course, show some love in the chat room. We'd love to hear what y'all think. With that said, let's get it going. You are tuned in live to 3 and Out College Edition right here on IE Sports Radio. Your directed for all that is sports. Welcome, college football fans. Well, here we are. I'll tell you, this is the kickoff of an incredible week here on IE Sports Radio. I could not be more excited to be bringing this show to you here today. This is the first of 4 shows coming up. I'll tell you, this is going to be a lot of fun. This is going to be a lot of fun today. We are really going to get after it. We have, of course, this show starting things off. Then we will have at the top of the hour, well, the next hour is at 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern time. We have the Phils, Mr. Phil Robinson III and Mr. Phil Jones, bringing you the unfiltered truth. Tons of Raider news. We got to show some love from last week. They talked to Mr. Lynn Bowden Jr. of Kentucky, of course, going on to our beloved Raiders, because they're Raider fans just like myself, and of course, the Raiders. That was pretty sweet seeing that last week. The guy's a dual threat receiver and running back, so really cool to see him heading on over to the Raiders to help make us better on that offensive side of the ball. And of course, we have coming up at 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Let's whine about sports. Tonight's wine, well, it's going to be Cabernet. That's right, Mr. Mike Pat bringing in another tasty wine, and this is a special wine, y'all, because this is our anniversary week for IE Sports Radio. I'm just saying. So he will be drinking some Cabernet tonight, talking about NFL draft. He might be talking about, of course, last night's documentary, Beat Michael Jordan, The Last Dance, and then, of course, speaking of that, tonight, following that show, the 4th show in a row, 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Eastern, join Davidson Crooks and Antarius Locke as they deliver you Fast Break. They'll give their thoughts on The Last Dance. They'll also be talking some college football, some NBA. Hey, y'all, we're trying to get this thing rolling just as much as you are out there. And, it sucks to not have any sports at the moment, but it's all right. Lo and behold, sports are coming back. They are making their way. And I'll tell you, I am so excited that we're finally going to get some NASCAR back next week, or actually this coming weekend at Darlington Motor Speedway. Too tough to tame, y'all. So excited for that race coming up. They will have it for you on USRN, of course, with Mr. Matt Owens and Mr. Seth Eves. Don't know if Daryl or Matt, Daryl Kinsey Jr. or Matt White will be joining them, but it's going to be a pretty sweet show. Also, we're going to go ahead and post that up and have a lot of fun showing those guys some love, and of course, finally getting our first taste of sports. We had a little bit last weekend with UFC 249. Of course, Mr. Marcus Los Great will be talking about that tomorrow evening on Gloves Off at 7 p.m. Pacific time, 10 p.m. Eastern. But without further ado, y'all, we only have 55 more minutes left in this show. So you know what that means? We got to get some college talk. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, welcoming, he is, of course, the head of our PR department here at IE Sports Radio. He is the founder and the host of Set Point here on IE Sports Radio. And he has an interview that I am so excited about. He'll be talking talking to the man himself. And when I'm talking about the man, the man that has helped an incredibly talented team of young men two back-to-back NCAA men's volleyball titles. And that was our first one since 1990, y'all. Long time ago, 90 or 91, right around there. But regardless, it's been a long time. And I'll tell you what, it's pretty sweet to have this guy on our show on Wednesday, or on our network on Wednesday. Mr. Coach Alan Knipe will be on, head coach of the Long Beach, the Wave. I was going to say the 49ers, but you know how that goes. Anyway, welcoming in the guy who will be having him on the show, ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Mr. Teran Rodriguez. What's going on, Teran? How you doing today, man?
Doing fine, Larry B. I'm ready to be talking some college football with you.
Hey, brother, that's what it's all about, man. Glad to have you back on the show, dude. Hey, how you like this, man? 6 years coming up on Friday on air. How you like that?
It's mind-blowing, and I just want to say thank you to all the fans who have kept up their support for us. Whether it's baseball, football, basketball, volleyball, hockey, no matter what. We appreciate all the fans who have supported us throughout the years.
Absolutely. I'll tell you right now, y'all, as I always like to say, all glory to God. That's right, y'all. That's right. Big ups to the man above. Without him, we are nothing. No one's nothing. We appreciate, of course, him above all. And all the listeners out there who make this thing happen, as I always say. If it wouldn't be for y'all, we wouldn't be around for 6 years. We wouldn't be anything. We wouldn't be IE Sports Radio. So we appreciate you all for being the incredible fans and listeners that you are. We have come such a long way. I mean, come on, Teran. We got a dang Hall of Fame here. We have 2 classes already in the IE Sports Radio Hall of Fame. We have Fans of the Month. The next one will be posted up shortly. Actually, as a matter of fact, coming up this week. We have our website, which is booming. We got tons of podcasts right now, 12 that are active, 19 total that we're trying to get the rest of them kind of rolling. But we got that going on, and there's tons of great stuff going on here, man. I mean, this is bigger than I could have ever imagined, and I'm just so excited to kick off this week here on IE Sports Radio. So with that said, Teran, let's get this thing going. And I'm excited, man. Let's go ahead and talk some college football. So first and foremost, let's just get this out of the gates. Let's just go ahead and get this thing out of the gates, man. Because let's be real. Teran, how blatantly obvious was it? What point of the season last year did you just know that LSU was going to run away with everything? Like, really, what point?
When they beat Bama.
Yeah. I agree. It was definitely... That was probably the biggest part of the season that said, yeah, we're gonna turn things out this year. And honestly, they did. Incredibly tough team, very talented team, and a team that just did so much last year. I couldn't be more excited for this team. And coming up this year, they're going to have, their quarterback, of course, is now on to the NFL, being the first overall pick for the Cincinnati Bengals, Joe Burrow. But I'll tell you what, they definitely have some up-and-comers on this team. And I think they're still going to be that same powerful LSU next year. Maybe not as potent. I don't know, but we'll talk about that. So, all right, Teran, we have 1 hour. Actually, we've already cut into that hour. So let's go ahead and jump on in here to my trusty ESPN Score Center app here. And, man, I miss saying that. I'm just being on air, dude. Hopefully we get everything back soon. Hopefully the stupid coronavirus doesn't mess up our sports, or our football at least. It's already messed up our sports. So let's go ahead and get on over here. And what was that, Teran?
So I actually read a recent NCAA article, and I don't want to damper this, and I hope this isn't true, but the NCAA president says no fall sports unless campuses are open to all students.
And I absolutely agree, Teran. I agree, because as much as I would love to see college football back, if it's best that the college campuses are closed, and it's best that this ridiculously annoying virus, that we get rid of this stupid virus completely 100%, like no more cases whatsoever, that might take a little bit longer than the season. So if that's the case, then so be it, because it's for the greater good, yo. And that's all there is to it. As we always say here at iSports Radio, that's what it's all about, y'all, the greater good. So, with that said, though, Teran, we're going to treat things tonight as if we are still good to go. We got a few months before the season starts in August. So, let's get on over to week number 1. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we are going to go through, for the next 50 minutes, or about 45 minutes, with our 5-minute outro, we're going to be going hyperspeed through the every week of the NCAA, and we're going to talk about our biggest matchups. It's going to be a little crazy. We're going to have a little fun with this. Of course, tonight, I wish we can get more deeper into Division III, Division II, NAIA, the CCCAA, as well as the NJCAA. And the FCS. However, we just got to stick with D1 Single A tonight because we only have an hour, but it's all good. We're going to get through this, and if we have a little time, we'll get to that. I know Teran has a pretty cool announcement for the CCCAA coming up later on. But with that said, let's get on into week number 1, which should be getting underway on August 29th. Actually, it's like a 2-week kind of a thing because that's usually how it goes. Like the first 2 weeks.
Actually, the week of August 29th is actually week 0.
It's a week 0. So basically what this is, ladies and gentlemen, is you have what we call a week 0. So thank you for correcting me, Teran. It's a week. So basically, I mean, I just call it 2 week ones. I mean, it's really the same deal. It really doesn't mean anything what you call the weeks. It's just 2 weeks that don't. It's 1 week that has a number that is used less often. Like, that's really all it is. Like, I mean, that's really it. So, thanks for that, Teran. But yeah, it's a week 0, but
at least there's no week 00 games.
That would be really dumb. So, just kidding. But with that said, we have week number 1, which is basically 2 weeks, or if we want to call it week 0 and week 1. But this is always a fun couple of weeks to start things off because we got some of the best football, I think, of the entire season 2 years ago. Last year, it wasn't as great. This year, it was actually, 2 years ago, it was amazing. So, with that said, in that first week, Teran, right now, they're all to be announced, so we don't even know when those big games are. But in that first week, with just a little jumble up of games, in that first heap on Saturday, the game that sticks out to me the absolute most, which is going to be really exciting, is personally, dude, I think Hawaii and Arizona is actually pretty dang good. Why is this going to be a good game? Well, of course, we have the traditional Notre Dame-Navy game that gets played, annually, but this game has a little bit more. Hawaii last year had it wasn't a season to remember, but it definitely wasn't one to forget. And then we had last year also Arizona being kind of in the middle of the field with the Pac-12. Regardless, these are two teams who are kind of on the up and up a little bit. Not a lot, but a little bit. And seeing this game right out of the gates, it's actually going to be pretty cool. So the game is scheduled to be played in Tucson. Don't know if that's going to be the night game. I doubt it. But if it is, that'd be pretty cool. But regardless, your thoughts on this game real quick, Teran.
Larry, I actually agree with you on that game. That is probably the most fascinating and the game that sticks out to me. I'm going to be interested to see how Hawaii does without Cole McDonald, who actually got drafted in the NFL. And Arizona is looking to have a better season than last year. I think they had a decent season, but, to be honest with you all, I don't think they had the season they were projecting. So it's going to be Pac-12 versus Mountain West, and that's kind of a little cool. And it's also the desert versus the Big Island. So honestly, this is probably the matchup of the week if I had to choose one. There are a lot of FBS versus FCS games that are also eye-opening, but Hawaii, Arizona is the one that sticks out to me.
Yeah, I didn't think McDonald, man. See, I didn't even know that. See, Teran should be hosting the show, man, not me. Great stuff, man. That guy knows more than me. So, great stuff, Teran. And absolutely, dude, this is going to be a really intriguing game. And more than anything, let's just see, which one of these middle type of teams in each of their conferences can actually make something happen, make a big splash. So, this is going to be really exciting, man. So, anyway, before we move on to, I guess you can call the actual week 1, any other games in this bunch here that you want to just briefly run over real quick that you think are going to be pretty good?
So I also think UC Davis and Nevada will also be good. Originally UC Davis was actually slated to play USC in like week 1, and then USC was like, nope, we're not doing it, because for those of you that don't know, USC, UCLA, and Notre Dame are the only 3 FBS teams to not play an FCS school, and USC almost broke that tradition until they decided to say, nope, we want to play San Jose State, which I guess that's a little bit of an upgrade, but, you know, it could have been a little bit better of an opponent. But I will be fascinated to see how UC Davis does against Nevada, especially with life without Jordan Love. And Idaho State, New Mexico looks a little fascinating as well. I'll be talking about Idaho State a little bit later because, you know, a player that I know, or that we know, actually got an offer from Idaho State, but
Sweet.
That's just my take.
Sweet. Well, Teran, absolutely. I'm doubt about the. I kind of wanted to see. I mean, I did and I didn't. That'll be the first time USC has ever played a FCS school, which is pretty sweet because if you think about it, like that's a history of just not getting those. I don't want to call them free wins because it's not right to dip the FCS like that. But I'm just saying, you know, it's kind of it would be kind of cool to see that. I guess to see, you know, USC gets one of those like quote unquote preseason games. But then again, you know what? I want to see. All iron is what they usually play against. And, you know, not saying anything bad about UC Davis at all because they have some great talent, dude. Doss, I wish he was still on the Raiders. I don't know if he was in the practice squad, but that guy came out and balled. And just more than anything, man, the Aggies, they really have some great talent there. You know, they belong in the FCS. I wouldn't call them in at all. I wouldn't call them a single A team in the FBS. But you know what, there's some good talent that comes out of that school, and personally, man, this team, that would have been a really cool game to see. But regardless, them in Nevada should be quite the good one. So, next up, Teran, let's go ahead and move on into week number 1, if you will, for this season. And the one that just flies off of my phone into my face, Teran, I guarantee you're going to second the crap out of this. And if you don't, I mean, you must have missed it somehow, because you have to be staring at the same exact game that I am right now. You have to be. And ladies and gentlemen, that game is the Holy War. BYU and Utah going head-to-head yet again coming up in week number 1, scheduled for Thursday, September 3rd. Teran, are you excited for that game or what?
I am absolutely excited for that game, and I did hear that those two have extended their rivalry a little bit longer and that they'll be playing each other for, I think, the next 5 years. I'm almost 95% certain that it was that in football and not like basketball, but I'm almost certain that BYU and Utah will be facing one another more times than not in the near future in football because it's a rivalry game. It's the battle for Utah, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, and why not, Teran? You know what? There's some rivalries that I feel need to just stick around. Like, seriously, there's some rivalries that just need to be played all the time. That's like not having Army and Navy play. Like, seriously, man, I feel like this is one of those games where this just needs to happen. Such a great victory. There's a great game for these two teams and a great victory earned by each of these teams every time they play in it, whoever wins it. So, with that said, also another pretty good game here. Washington State and Utah State should be another pretty exhilarating game. Teran, you want to go ahead and name off some of these? Oh, UMass UConn, another rivalry battle there. But what do you think, man? Some games that you are intrigued to see in this first week?
I'm also intrigued to see for the Thursday games. I'm also intrigued to see NC State and Louisville. I think that's going to be a good Southern matchup. And then Clemson and Georgia Tech. It won't be as fascinating as BYU Utah, but we will get to see Trevor Lawrence in action without some of his top receivers like T. Higgins. And I think that's just my take, however. And Oregon State and Oklahoma State also looks a little intriguing as well. I mean, I don't think Oklahoma State is as good as like Oklahoma, but you know, we'll see how the Pac-12 fares in this matchup.
You know, Teran, I would love to tell you right now, no, dude, Pac-12 all day.
Oh, and I forgot Northern Arizona and Arizona State. How could I forget that one?
That's a fun one, because you see it. I don't want to call it a cupcake game, but you already know. It's an FCS school, FBS school. I mean, it'd be really cool to see that competitive, and I know Appalachian State does exist, okay? We know that happened, okay? Almost 10 years, actually, my gosh, 13 years ago, and then 10 years to the date after that. But, just saying, I just kind of wish that would be a little more. I wish I could say more about that game. I really want to, but, with that said, Teran, let's go ahead and jump on into this game real fast, because I do want to talk about that one momentarily. We have here the battle of the OSUs, okay? Oregon State taking on Oklahoma State. And you already know as much as I do. You're absolutely correct, Teran. I mean, it would be awesome to see this team head from Corvallis to Stillwater and pull off a victory. Why? Because we're Pac-12 guys. You know that, Pac-12 through and through. But we're also not blind. Right, Teran? Like, we also know that, you know, Oklahoma State, the Cowboys got a little more umph, got a little more pop in their step, a little pep in their step. They're actually a little more of a tougher team. Oregon State last year, just the last couple of years, they have been falling apart. It wasn't too long ago, my gosh, I think it was my freshman year in college when they beat USC. That cringed, that game. Of course, they are a ways removed from as talented as they were then. USC went through that as well. Now they're on the up and up, I believe. But overall, right now, that would be an intriguing game. I just kind of wish it's intriguing to me because I like the game and I'm excited for the game itself. But overall, Teran, I just don't see that game being competitive. What about you?
Yeah, I agree. And I also believe Oregon State's QB declared for the draft, and he actually got drafted as well, which is cool. So I think Oklahoma State is going to womp all over Oregon State. But I will say this, I think Oregon State is trying to improve. I think there was one year they beat Oregon. I'm not entirely certain about that, but honestly, it'll take a miracle for Oregon State to win.
Yeah, it will. I hate to be a Debbie Downer. I don't want to be that, especially because we're Pac-12 guys, Teran, but yeah. I mean, there's really nothing more to say. By the way, big ups to Marcus. Looks great in the chat room tomorrow, y'all. Marcus is going to be this guy. He's always happy and excited to do his show no matter what. Always does a great job. Always puts on a great show. But tomorrow, he's going to have so much to say. I'm not going to sidetrack at all, but my gosh, UFC 249 with no fans took place on Saturday. We had an incredible fight. Ferguson defeated. Okay, that was already crazy enough by Gates. I don't know butcher his name, but Justin Gates, if I'm butchering his name, forgive me. But victory there for him. And then it was even crazier, the fight before that. Henry Cejudo will defend his title, and then he retires. It's going to be an interesting show. And then today, I just saw a little bit ago, courtesy of the ESPN SportsCenter app, they sent a nice little, they sent their update about Conor McGregor going off and just literally, I had to go look at his tweets myself, and he had a lot to say. A lot of Conor McGregor type things. And you know what? You can say what you want, but get Mayweather, the guy backs it up. So, it is what it is, guys. But check it out tomorrow. Gloves off, 7 p.m. Pacific time, 10 p.m. Eastern. Right here on iSports Radio, your direct feed for all the sports. Catch Marcus looks great, talking plenty of combat sports tomorrow on Gloves Off. It's going to be a great one. So, all right, Teran, with that said, let's go ahead and jump on over to what we would call week number 2. Well, actually, no, it's still in this first week because that's the Thursday games. On to Friday. Oh, crap, we got to speed up a little bit. Friday's games, personally, Teran, I don't really see much. I mean, it is what it is. I guess North Carolina, if they were to, be somewhat competitive. They were actually okay last year. I was surprised. But them and UCF, two teams that were, definitely seen better days. UCF was just a monster a couple years ago, and now they've kind of just dwindled down to, they're good. They're not bad or anything, but they're good. And then UNC, just wow. Last year they shocked some people. Okay, nearly knocked off Clemson. That was crazy. But then again, they just didn't make it happen. So overall, that's the game I'm kind of looking at. And then, yeah, that's first week, because it's what you would typically call just the first, or, week 1, week 0 type games. Some of them are really, 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 really good, and some we just kind of know we're going to be one-sided. college doesn't have a preseason, so that's why they schedule these FCS games. I'm just scrolling down the list. Okay, that could be good. UCLA and Hawaii could actually be a good game. Then we have, of course, oh my gosh, this one's going to be fun. The Rocky Mountain Showdown, Colorado and Colorado State. Last year, that was actually a pretty good game, kind of, for just a little bit before it got ugly. And this time, it should be pretty good. I hope it's a little bit closer this time around. And then there's a game that I didn't even know. Teran, we have to stop right here. We have to stop. We have to stop right this moment in time. Teran, North Dakota State, the Bison, who just freaking won, 8 titles in the last 9 years. Okay, first team to ever go 16-0 in a college season in any division. Well, they will be they'll be cruising west over to Autzen Stadium to take on the Oregon Ducks. Teran, what do you think about that one, man?
So I actually made note of this in our last episode of 3 and Out College Edition, and I was actually really intrigued. And honestly, I think we both agreed that Oregon is probably going to wallop all over North Dakota State, but hopefully it'll be competitive between the two. Obviously, Oregon is still a juggernaut despite having graduated Justin Herbert and a few others. However, they do bring in some really talented players, like 5-star, I believe he's safety, Justin Flo. Correct me if I'm wrong about his position, but Oregon's still the top-tier team, and they honestly could have made the college football Final Four or the college football playoff, but things happened. Another noteworthy game on Friday, September 4th, is Indiana and Wisconsin. I know those two don't play in the same division, but it's technically a Big Ten crossover match, which is, to me, is pretty fascinating. And I think that's probably the big matchup of the day that day, honestly. And then there's also Illinois State and Illinois, the Battle of the Windy City. Well, that's Chicago, but still, the Battle of Illinois. And yeah, that's a few of my top noteworthy matchups.
Absolutely, man. There should be some good games there. I also like Michigan-Washington is going to be quite the battle. That's going to be such a good game. TCU and Cal, it's probably going to be one-sided. TCU is probably going to smack Cal, but honestly, it'd be really cool to see that. I don't know, Teran. I don't know, Teran. I don't see it, dude. I don't see Cal be. What do you think, man? Do you think that could be competitive? What do you think?
I think it could be competitive.
You think so? Tell me why. Because
Cal has, as Petros Papadakis once called him, the king of Corona del Mar, Chase Garbers at QB. As long as he's healthy, Cal can have a pretty good season. Honestly, when he's out there on the field, it's just magic for Cal. When he's not on the field, Cal looks totally disoriented. I remember the USC game. USC obviously thrashed Cal, but Garbers got hurt, I think, in the middle of the game, and that kind of took all the wind out of Cal's sails, and that pretty much was that. But USC also had some guys banged up as well, so it kind of evened it out theoretically, but Chase Garbers is just a magic man for Cal. He's turned that program around.
Well, that could be a pretty good game then. Of course, on Monday we have Georgia and Virginia. And how can we forget, Teran, a game that I kind of just want to dodge and not talk about because I don't really want to... I'm going to be supporting, but I'm going to be kind of yeah, wonderful, yay. Hopefully it's not a beatdown. Of course, our beloved Trojans will be hosting Alabama. And... hopefully we don't get taken around the woodshed in this game. But there's reason to believe that it could be competitive. As Marcus said earlier in our IA Sports Radio chat room, Teran, how about these recruits, man?
Absolutely. And another thing that might benefit USC is Tua Tagovailoa's little brother has now entered the transfer portal for Alabama. So Bama's going to have to look for a new QB. But they might probably go with, I hate to bring his name up, but Bryce Young. And that's going to probably be a Judgment Day game for USC, considering Bryce Young, for those of you that don't know, originally committed to USC, and then every USC fan was happy. And then when I saw the news that he decommitted and committed to Alabama. Everyone kind of lost their minds. So this will be a Judgment Day game for USC and Caden Slovis.
I just hope that it's not a massacre, Teran. That's all I can hope right now.
USC can make it competitive. Now, hold on. Hear me out here. Bama did lose a lot of key pieces, and USC was banged up last year. They returned most of those players, except JT Daniels. But for the most part, I think, and obviously Pittman, and I still think they have like Tyler Vaughns and a few other players.
Yes.
And honestly, USC can make it competitive. Do I think that USC can win? Maybe not. But still, I think that people are overlooking USC against this Bama matchup. And there are even some people saying that USC is going to cruise to victory against Bama. You know, I don't know if they're being overconfident, but who knows? I really want to see this matchup.
I want to see it too, but I don't know. That's a little rolling over them. No, a close game probably. If we roll over them, then dude, we're winning the national championship. I don't give a crap. I mean, maybe I won't jump out and be one of those people already, but I'm just saying I think we have a pretty good chance at at least the playoff. Okay, if we can roll over Bama, and even if we make it a close game, I still think we have a pretty good chance. USC has a pretty good team. Good stuff, man. So okay, we have 30 minutes left here in the show, so let's roll on through these weeks, man. Just pick out some of the best games that we can take a look at. So week 2 overall, we have a couple Friday games and nothing too interesting there. And then we get into the thick of the week on that Saturday, and oh my gosh, it's going to be so hard to pick just one. But man, if I gotta pick a game, if I have to pick a game to watch in week number 2, I know it's not going to be the primetime game for Saturday Night Football, and if it is, that'd be freaking sweet. But the game that it's probably going to be a lashing. It may be, but if it's not, I'm excited because we have Burnt Orange taking on the Bayou Bengals, man. Texas heading east to take on LSU in Baton Rouge. What do you think about that game, Teran?
So yeah, I think that is a very, very noteworthy game. I also counter and say that a very, very fascinating game to top that would probably be Ohio State and Oregon. And it's another Power 5 conference matchup between the Big Ten and the Pac-12. And this could basically prove to see if Oregon is like ready for the big boys and ready for the college playoff championships. And this could be a huge pivotal moment for Oregon because last year Oregon lost to Auburn, which kind of hurt their chances, even though I knew Auburn was going to beat Oregon, not to be the I called it guy, but but Big 12 and SEC are kind of a different breed, so we'll see. I mean, Oregon lost a bunch of key pieces, and so did Ohio State, but to me is kind of my matchup of the week. I
agree, man. That's actually a pretty good game. Definitely topping the one that I brought up. And seriously, man, it's those programs are kind of like a lizard's tail, man. I always like to bring that up. You chop it off and one grows back. So they got lots of talent. And at the end of the day, I mean, they're stacked. You know, I mean, I hate to say it as an athlete because like you're just a number, but at the end of the day, you know, this is how it goes. It's business as usual, and we'll see. So. Okay, so let's go ahead and roll into week number 3. Got to get a rhythm here, y'all. Like I said, we only got about 30 minutes left here in the show, so let's go ahead and roll on. Well, look at this. 2 games that I absolutely love, because both my teams are playing teams that I don't really like. Okay, we have, of course, my beloved Trojans heading on up to the farm to take on Stanford. I really don't think that's going to be much of a game. Hopefully it isn't. But if it is, then gosh damn it. But regardless, hopefully USC will make something nice out of that. And then UCLA heads down south. That's right, y'all. To Jack Murphy. That's right. Heading on down to take on my San Diego State Aztecs. 2 good football games there. So those are some good games. Of course, the big one I think in this week is definitely going to be Georgia, Alabama. I mean, how can you not say that's going to be like the juggernaut game of that entire week? Those are 2 freaking heavyweights going at it yet again. And the crazy part about this one is It's so early in the season. That is nuts. I am looking forward to that game. Also a game that may be kind of good. Maybe. I don't know. I really don't know. But Florida State and Boise State could be potentially a pretty good football game. And then last but not least, Hawaii, Oregon could also be another good one. Utah State, Washington could be another one. And honestly, I don't really have much. I guess Iowa, Minnesota could have actually be pretty good. Minnesota had quite the streak last year. People were calling for them to be national champions in like week 7 after they went 7-0 or something like that. So not bad. Iowa, of course, I watched them destroy the Trojans last year. And honestly, overall, they're still a pretty stout team. So those are my games to kind of really take a look at in week 3. What about you, Teran? What do you think?
So for that USC-Stanford game, I'm not sure if Stanford actually has a chance. Stanford does really play well at the farm, but at least USC has their quarterback picked out. Stanford does not have their quarterback unless it's Davis Mills. If you case for those of you that didn't hear, KJ Costello inserted himself into transfer portal. Stanford does have a good recruiting class, and I think their top recruit is John Humphreys. For those of you that don't know, he's a very talented wide receiver, and I think he also can play defense as well. And he played at Corona Del Mar High School, and he's a friggin' beast. He's the younger brother of Ben Humphreys, who played at Duke. But I totally agree. But to steer off away from Stanford and USC, I definitely think Bama and Georgia will be the matchup of the week that week. I have no doubt in my mind.
You know, I just can't help it, man. I'm a big fan of Kirby Smart. The guy I guess he's a genius. He does great things there. And, of course, you have the king of college football, in my opinion. I mean, one of the greatest college football coaches ever coached the game ever is Nick Saban. So, I'm just saying, those are some big matchups. Okay, on to week number 4. Let's get a little hustle, a little pep in our step as well. Week number 4. Oh, San Diego State and Nevada could be quite the game here. Of course, our Trojans have Arizona, which I would really hope that USC doesn't fall apart in that game. But Herm Edwards, man, that guy is the real deal. I'm such a big fan of his. So, could be a pretty good game there. I want Virginia Clemson to be a good game. A rematch of the ACC, but let's just face it, it's probably not. I mean, I'm just being realistic. Let's see here. We also have Stanford UCLA in that week. Could be another, could be a pretty evenly matched game. Of course, Wisconsin, Michigan, I feel like is probably going to be the game of the week in that week, because you have one team that needs to just get it to freaking together. Michigan, I mean, come on, Harbaugh, you've been there for way too long, dude, to not have something go your way, at least not 100%, but my gosh, at least something. And Wisconsin, well, they're still freaking Wisconsin. They're still a pretty powerful team, and they're not an easy team to defeat. So those are just some key games for me. Also, Ole Miss LSU looks pretty, that's probably not going to be. It's maybe one-sided. And I don't really see anything else that's too appealing to me. Let's see if Teran does. Teran, what you think about week 4, man?
I would also say BYU Minnesota looks pretty good as well. I mean, independent school versus Big Ten school, but BYU kind of surprised everyone, including us too.
Yeah,
especially with that overtime win over USC. And yeah, I totally agree with you about the Stanford UCLA match being a little eye-opening, because for all you David Shaw hater stands out there,
yeah,
you ought to be grateful to have a coach such as David Shaw.
Yes,
like I don't understand why you would want to call for his head. It's like, come on, man.
No, seriously.
Like, this dude has done a lot for your program, and you have the nerve to just call him and call for his head. The nerve of you, as Marcus would say.
Yeah, tell him, Teran. No, tell him. Marcus, can you put that in the chat room right now? The nerve of you. Because it's true, man. David Shaw's the real deal, man. I am a Coach Shaw fan. I don't care if I can't stand Stanford. I respect that man as a coach and as a man. He is awesome. And seriously, he's in a couple bad seasons, not bad, but a couple seasons that things just didn't go your way and you're going to freaking cry about it. Like, seriously, like, honestly, he's done a lot of good there. So I don't want to hear that nonsense. Good job, Teran. No, thank you. Where's that applause button? Dude, you get the applause button right now. I don't even care. I know you can't hear it. It's on mute, but the listeners can definitely hear it, and I definitely agree, Teran. That's really annoying to have anybody say anything bad about him because he's done a lot of great things there. So, okay, into week 5. Got 20 minutes left here. Realistically 15. So week number 5, UNLV and San Diego State. Oh, what a game that's going to be. We've had them in football for a long time. Last year basketball was, wow, both the women's and the men's defeated them in the same exact day. The men's game even crazier in basketball because that ended the San Diego State streak. Another couple of games that would have been undefeated. I don't know how many teams had done that in college basketball, but that was awesome. Regardless, you can tell it's just an awesome rivalry. Should be quite the game there. Then on Thursday night, October 1st, oh, Teran, the Memphis Tigers and their really cool uniforms heading over to SMU to take on the Mustangs. That's going to be quite the game. Utah will host USC. Oh my, I can't wait for that game. We got another Utah battle here. Utah State and BYU should be quite the battle there. Also, another game that I really like in this week, Washington, Oregon, a rivalry as we know, and realistically, this has potential to be a good football game. Both teams maybe aren't what they were in the last couple of years, but my gosh, this could be fireworks, and we could see a lot of young stars emerging in this alone. That could be a really good game. Also, Oklahoma and Baylor could be another really good game. They're a great game there in the Big 12. I want to say Michigan State and Iowa, but I'm not. I'm just not. I also want to say Minnesota and Maryland, but I'm just not. Penn State, Michigan has a chance to be something decent, but I still don't think that's going to be that great of a game because those teams just let us down, dude. Seriously, those teams they build you up to let you down in a sense. I hate to say it like that. USC's been like that in the last couple of years. I'm a Raider fan, so I should know. But personally, those are going to be some games that could be possibly good. But the game that sticks out to me the most this week, Teran, is going to be Notre Dame at Wisconsin. A young upcoming Notre Dame team with a lot of talent going up to face a team who lost some talent but still has plenty of it in Madison, taking on the Wisconsin Badgers. Those are some key games for me. I like those a lot. Teran, what you got?
Absolutely agree on the Notre Dame and Wisconsin matchup. I'm looking at these matchups on Saturday, and I'm wondering why LSU is playing nickels.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know why, but maybe there's a method to the madness, but who's to say? I'm not going to judge, but I like that Washington-Oregon matchup. You know what I mean? I mean, Washington kinda doesn't have a quarterback with Jacob Eason graduating, but they do have a really talented running back who can also play quarterback, and they've got some good recruits coming in as well. So honestly, I like that Washington-Oregon matchup just as much as the Wisconsin-Notre Dame matchup. And then also, as you said, USC and Utah is a really, really standout-ish game considering Utah last year got probably stunned in probably the most improbable game anyone's ever seen. You know what I mean? Considering USC had like a third-string quarterback or was second string. Either way, Caden Slovis led USC after, I think it was JT Daniels got hurt. I'm sorry. Caden Slovis was the one got hurt, and then Matt Fink led the way. So that's going to be Judgment Day for Utah, and it's going to be a big test for USC, considering can they win in outside of their little protective dome, which is the Coliseum.
Well, let's hope. He's definitely some great football there. Moving on to week number 6. Got about a little bit over 10 minutes here, so let's roll on quick these weeks here, Teran. Week number 6. I'll tell you right now, Cal USC. Let's see Garber's head on into that to the Grand Ole Lady. That should be quite the game as well. Looking forward to that one. Another game here that really sticks out to me: LSU and Florida. I would love to say Alabama at Arkansas, but no. LSU Florida has potential to be a very good game, as well as Auburn at Georgia. All SEC teams there. That potential to make a decent run. I still feel like LSU is a top dog, or a top cat, if you will. But regardless, those are some good battles. Iowa State and Oklahoma State, two of the gigantic upset that I'll never forget back in 2011 when the Cyclones defeated the Cowboys. I think it was at home. I don't know if it was. I think it was at home in Iowa. But regardless, could be a good game there. The Cotton Bowl, of course, Texas, Oklahoma is a game that just overshadows everything, I think, in this day. Even if we have some really good ones like Minnesota, Wisconsin, it's a great game, as well as Iowa and Ohio State, some Big 12 battles there. To me, I guess those are probably going to be the biggest, baddest games. But then the game that everyone just loves to watch, even if it sometimes isn't all that great, it's still a great game. And I think, personally, man, I hope that this game is the game of the week in Saturday Night Football, but if it's not, it deserves to be. Stanford at Notre Dame. What do you got, Teran, for week number 6?
So I also saw that Clemson-Florida State is also a key matchup for the ACC. I mean, Clemson is obviously Clemson, and Florida State fell off quite a bit. But who knows? Conference game, rivalry game as well. You never know, considering anything could happen in a rivalry game, which is basically the number one rule of that is throw out the records. But I am interested to see if Cal can actually beat USC, as you said. And then I also was looking at Wisconsin and Minnesota, but I also did see Illinois and Nebraska, your favorite team, not really.
Yeah.
Considering we'll see how Nebraska does against the Fighting Illini.
Wouldn't that be some good stuff? I'm looking forward to that. Also, we have here in week 7, man, UCF taking on Memphis in Memorial Stadium in those really cool uniforms. This was the American Conference Championship for like 2 years running before last year. And, well, they meet again here. That should be a very good game. USC heading on down to take on the Wildcats. I don't know why I feel like I should have that game marked, because Arizona is always tough down there. And for some reason, dude, I don't know what it is about USC going over there. That's been a tough one for us last couple of years, but regardless, we have actually quite the game there. Overall, this week delivers good football. I like Oklahoma taking on Iowa State, especially depending on how they do against Oklahoma State. But to me, the big one, of course, is going to be Iowa at Penn State. That could be a stable game in the Big Ten this year. And more than anything, I just feel like I don't think it's going to determine the winners, but it could give maybe indication of how each of those teams are doing at that point in time and how the rest of the season might go. Of course, the Battle of the Blue, I just would love to see this game be competitive like it was last year. North Carolina and Duke could be quite the battle there. But another game that I really want to see, Oregon at Cal would be great. Washington State at Stanford could be another big one. And another great game here that I think actually has lost potential is going to be Ohio State taking on Michigan State, and probably Michigan and Minnesota. So I think there's a couple of handpicked games that I see here just scrolling through that I think they're going to be pretty decent. Teran, what are your thoughts on this week?
I will say this, with that North Carolina Duke game, I'm willing to bet anyone any amount of money that there will be at least one crying MJ face at the North Carolina Duke game, because I think everyone should know that North Carolina is the alma mater of Michael Jordan, and then Michael Jordan obviously had that infamous crying meme. But honestly, I will say that the Pac-12 North has some key matchups, like you said, with Oregon and Cal going out another. A Mountain West Conference matchup that I'm looking forward to is San Diego State and Wyoming. I don't know if they're in the same division, but they are in the same conference. So it could be a crossover game, but it is a crucial matchup for both those teams. Absolutely. I know San Diego State is your team. Absolutely.
Speaking of San Diego State, well, we go at it again. SJSU taking on SDSU. That'll be this time in Jack Murphy down here. I don't even know if that's what they still call it, but down here in Southern California. San Jose State taking on San Diego State. This is going to be a battle in week number 8. I'm so excited for that game. Just because Cincinnati at SMU actually seems to be a really good game, too. Temple versus Memphis seems to be another good game. It's a really good week. Let's see here. Stanford, Oregon, why not? Texas Tech. That's actually another good game too. Big 12 matchup there. That should be a fun one coming up in that week. And then, of course, the game, I don't know if it's going to be homecoming again for Penn State, but it could be like the usual whiteout night of taking on their rivals, Ohio State. That's always a fun one. That's probably the biggest game of that week, I'm sure, because I'm looking at the rest of them. There's some good ones, but yeah, that's got to be the game of the week for sure. And I think that's where I'm going to leave it. Honestly, I see some good games, but I think nothing's going to top Ohio State taking on Penn State in the shoe. What do you think, Teran?
Absolutely. I would be shocked to see that game not be game of the week.
Yeah.
Another game I'm interested to see in is Hawaii or BYU, or not BYU, Boise State at Hawaii. And honestly, that's going to be a tough game for Boise State, considering it's, you're playing in a different environment when you're playing at Hawaii, considering time change. And Hawaii's fans are very, very passionate, to be honest. So that's another big game I'm looking forward to. But honestly, Penn State and Ohio State are the teams, is the matchup that tops that week.
Absolutely. Okay, Teran, we got about 7 minutes here, so let's just hyper speed here. A couple of hand-picked games through week number 9. Utah, UCLA. Awesome game. Oh, it's going to be some good football. Colorado at USC. Hey, you know what? Why not? That actually has potential to be a very good game. Colorado's had decent games here and there. Oregon at Arizona. I don't know, dude. Arizona at home. I don't know. Florida, Georgia could actually be a good one. Florida will head north up to Georgia to play that game. Could be good there. And other than that, Teran, I don't really see much more. Go ahead, dude. Let me know, man. What are the games you looking at for week number 9? I'm
looking at Minnesota at Michigan State, but I actually do agree with you on that Florida at Georgia. It's gonna looks like Georgia is the home team, but the game is going to be played in Jacksonville. So
okay,
I don't know, but it is what it is to me. And I guess Duke and Notre Dame are going to be played on NBC. That's cool.
I know, right? Okay. I love how you said that. That's cool. So, on to week number 10. USC taking on Oregon in Autzen Stadium. Oh my gosh, that's going to be a great battle. Hopefully we don't get thrashed this year. That'd be kind of nice. Florida State taking on Miami. Just a good football game. I love watching that. I love watching those Florida teams go at it. Great stuff as usual. Also coming up that week, Alabama, we have, of course, it's always the big game. We just mentioned it earlier, Teran. You brought it up. I asked and you said it. LSU, the turning point for them last year to really just show that they were unstoppables, and they defeated Alabama. So that's coming up in week number 10 in Death Valley and Baton Rouge. Could be probably, now looking at the rest of the schedule, and Oklahoma, West Virginia, two Big 12 teams there that have been going back and forth. But overall, even Clemson, Notre Dame, that seems to be a good one. But seriously, Teran, I don't think anything this week, even Stanford, Washington could be a good game. But overall, I don't think anything is going to be overshadowing how good that game between Alabama and LSU is going to be. What do you think?
Yeah, Bama LSU is kind of going to be the matchup of the week. If not, it could also be Clemson Notre Dame. It's in a primetime slot and it's going to be on national TV. And then also USC and Oregon, considering Oregon kind of smacked them last year, and who knows, maybe SC is better than they were last year, and Oregon's not better than they were last year. So those are my 3 matchups. That's the big 3, the 3-headed monster.
I like it. Good job, Teran. On to week 11. There we go, making good time. On to week number 11. Waxo Sun Devils go to Autzen and beat Oregon. I'm just saying, that'd be crazy, but Oregon State and we'll be heading up to Oregon to take on those Ducks. Should be quite the battle there. San Diego State heading over to BYU. Oh my gosh, that could be a good game. Washington going on over to SC. That's another really good game. It's a really good week. Some good stuff already I see there. Potential Washington State and UCLA. Maybe. I don't think, maybe not. It could be a good game, but just for their level, I think neither of those teams are going to be front runners, I believe, right now, at least at the moment. Michigan State, Washington State, or Michigan State, Penn State, it could be a decent game as well. Overall, Teran, nothing here is catching my eye, brother. I don't see it. Maybe you see something more than I do, but other than that, it's one of those weeks. I'm going to enjoy it no matter what, but I think those are probably books the games to watch. What do you think?
I think San Diego State and BYU also has the potential as well. Huh. I will be fascinated to see how San Diego State does in BYU because of the difference of altitude, and BYU's fans can be savages as well. And also, I think Illinois and Indiana could be a under-the-radar matchups, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, it could be very true there. And yeah, man, the Mountain West is tough to play in. Altitude is all kinds of crazy stuff. Speaking of altitude, San Diego State, the next week in week 12, we'll be heading up to Fresno State. That could be really good as well. Then, of course, this is rivalry week already. We're getting into it, or at least one of 2 rivalry weeks. UCLA will be hosting our beloved Trojans, Teran. I'm not going to say it's not much of a game. That game's always a gosh damn war no matter what. I don't care. So that's going to be a good game as usual. At least what I think. You let me know what you think. But other than that, Teran, coming up this week, LSU Auburn, could be a game. I mean, I don't think it'd be the best game that week, but definitely can be a pretty good game. Let's see, Iowa, Purdue, not really. Louisville, Notre Dame could be kind of cool, I guess. I don't know. Other than that, Teran, I don't really see a lot this week. The week after this is going to be awesome. Georgia, Kentucky could be, but we're going to see what kind of team Kentucky is this year. I don't know. They've been on the up and up the last couple of years. But overall, Teran, I think those are pretty much the games to watch. What you got for this that week?
Texas A&M and Bama might also be a noteworthy game, to be honest. I don't think Texas A&M is on the level of Bama, sad to say, but you never know. And Stanford-Cal is also a noteworthy matchup. I don't know if you mentioned it, but I think those two are rivals. That's kind of a battle of the Bay Area, to be honest. And I think that could be a very noteworthy game, and especially since the Pac-12 game.
No, you're absolutely right, Teran. I didn't even think of that. But yeah, that's right. They have the rivalry. It is a rivalry in the Bay Area and the Pac-12. So good game there. On to week number freaking 13, Teran. And this is the one where crap's going to get crazy. We got the Apple Cup this year. Washington State. Hopefully that's a good game. I don't know if it'll be, but hopefully it is. Then we got... Let's see. The war on I-4, UCF and USF. I'm pretty sure it's going to be maybe one-sided. Maybe it could be a good game. I don't know. UCF. I don't know. We'll see. Notre Dame and USC. I hope we pull that thing off, but Notre Dame has tons of talent this year, dude. Seriously, it's going to be quite the tough game for SC. Let's see here. Man, there's some great... It's got to be a lot more great rivalry games this week, of course. And I think we have the Iron Bowl this week for damn sure. I think it's pretty later on down here, but let's see. Michigan, of course, the game. Michigan State and Ohio State. I don't think that's going to game... I don't think that game's going to go much different than it usually does. Ohio State's a powerhouse. Michigan will see what they can do. But the Sunshine Showdown, of course, we have Florida State and Florida. I think that's what they call that one. But that's always a great game there. We have the Civil War, Oregon and Oregon State, which is probably going to be one-sided as well. The Rumble in the Rockies, Utah, probably going to step on Colorado, but could be a game there. Georgia Tech and Georgia, pretty much Georgia, I think is going to run away with that one. The same exact way I think Florida's going to run away with it over Florida State in Tallahassee. And then, of course, Tennessee and Vandy's always a good battle. I didn't even know that Vandy was in Tennessee up to a couple of years ago. I was like, oh, no wonder it's a rivalry game. But yeah, should be a great game there. But yeah, dude, I think the game though for this week is without a doubt probably, my gosh, this is tough to pick, man, but I don't know, dude. I want to say the Iron Bowl, but for some crazy reason, I just feel like the game's going to be... It might be Michigan-Ohio State for the first time competitive. I don't know. What do you think, Teran?
Well, to be honest, I think Ohio State is going to run away with this against Michigan, considering Michigan never has an answer for Ohio State. That Bama-Auburn game is going to be one to note, considering Bama lost to Auburn last year, and I actually predicted that correctly.
You did
when we were making our picks. So I could see Auburn winning again, considering Bama doesn't have their quarterback as of right now, unless it's Bryce Young, and Auburn could be more heralded in terms of experience, but we'll see how it goes. Absolutely. And then UCLA Cal should be a good one. That could go down to who could be bowl game eligible and who could be sitting at home when bowl games happen.
I agree. So with that said, y'all, we're cueing the music. But I'll tell you right now, Teran, give me two teams to watch this year in 30 seconds. Go.
My teams to watch for this year, I don't want to sound objective, or I don't want to sound biased, but I think USC is going to have everyone's eye, honestly. And then Clemson also, considering they lost last year in the national championship, I think Clemson as well. So Clemson, Notre Dame is also up there as well. Oregon, we'll see how they do. Washington, I think, has potential, even though their QB situation is a little questionable. But I like USC and Clemson.
All right, I'm going to go USC, and because this is my team, I can't help it. And, dude, believe it or not, I'm going to go with Oh, this is a tough one, man. But I'm going to go Ohio State again. They're just a tough team. They got lots of talent returning, and we'll see how it goes. But Teran, where can they find you, man?
You can find me on Twitter at Teran Rodriguez1, Teran, and then my last name is Rodriguez, and then the number 1. Then you can also find me on Twitter at setpoints, set_point IE. So, yeah.
There you go, y'all. You can follow me over there at the THE_LB53 on Twitter. You can also follow us all as a whole at IE Sports Radio on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Give us a like on Facebook. We certainly like that. And of course, check us all out of our shows and everything at IESportsRadio.com. Thank you to Mr. Marcus Lowe's great in the chat room. Make sure to check out him tomorrow. And gloves off. Stay tuned, y'all, because Phil and Phil are right up next here on IE Sports Radio with the Unfiltered Truth. Phil Robinson III and Mr. Phil Jones. Be ready, y'all. It's going to be a good one. IE Sports Radio 6th year anniversary week is underway. Let's go, y'all. We'll see y'all coming up this season. Until then, take care. And as always, God bless. Boom. That was right.